Well, it's the end of July. It's July 31st, and I thought I'd give a tour of the vegetable garden. It's fun to look back on these in the next years to partly remember where everything was. So, in the first garden bed here, we have some cauliflowers. These guys all have their heads tied up a little bit. That's to prevent the sun from getting to the cauliflower, and that'll keep it nice and white. Unfortunately, we had a big explosion in cabbage moth caterpillars, and I had a feeling this was going to happen because this is our second year of growing brassica type things like cauliflower, cabbage, and broccoli. So next year we'll have to put like an insect netting over top of any of the brassicas to prevent this from happening again. As you can see, they've eaten really big holes through a lot of the leaves. And another gross part is that as they eat, they also poo. So our nice white cauliflower has all this like caterpillar poo all over it, which is sad. And also a downside of them eating the leaves. You can see here, this guy was tied up to keep the sun from getting to him. But because of all the holes in the leaves, the sun ended up getting him anyway. And you can see he's pretty yellow maybe. I don't know if you can see on there. But he's no longer pretty and white like he should be. Next door to him, we have just one cabbage in this bed. There is one nicer looking cauliflower. It's this guy right here. He's tied up, so he's hard to see. Over here, there was a top on it for shade for our lettuce, but it got destroyed in the last storm, unfortunately, but it's easy to replace. Lettuce, when it gets hot in the summertime, it'll bolt, which is what the spinach did here. Those are those taller ones. But because they got really hot, they bolted, and now they're gonna be making little seeds. And I've just left them because you can still eat the spinach. It's just a little bit bitter. And also I'm gonna try collecting the seeds and see if I can do that. I fertilized the lettuce for the first time this year, and it did a lot better. In past years, my frilly lettuce was really, really papery, but since I've been fertilizing it, it's been crunchier, like a better quality, I guess. The romaine did really well under the shade, and that's definitely something I'll do again next year. Right next door to that bed, we have some tomatoes over here. And also mixed in and down lower are some cucumber plants. That's what's getting these little yellow flowers. This is a parsley. It's doing really happy here. There's a few parsleys. One over there has bolted and gone to flower, so it'll make some seeds for us. These tomatoes I started a little bit later than the other set of tomatoes I'll show you that have already gone red. These tomato plants are actually a lot healthier than the other tomato plants. I'm excited to see how these fruits do. In this bed we have 5 tomato plants. We just strung them up on the string today just to keep them apart a little bit because they were falling over. I'm all out of tomato cages, so we're doing the best we can with some string and some wood. Next door here we have some of the cucumber plants. I'm not sure. You can see one cucumber starting there. We'll let him get a little bit bigger. And there's the first cucumber is over here. We're just letting him go for a bit to see if he'll get any bigger or maybe longer. Next door we have what we call the wildflower bed. Really early in the season the aphids were really bad. I believe it was a really wet spring that caused it. And they decimated my favorite red lupin. It's still looking a little rough, but it did throw just one little extra lupin for the season. Next to the wildflower bed, I have my sunflowers. And, oh, that's a cucumber plant. But most of the other plants in here are bean plants. And these guys are due for harvest again. We've been eating so many beans, but still there's tons to eat. You can see some more over there. Over here we have a nice looking garden bed, one of the nicer ones. Here's our strawberry plants that come back every year, and yeah, it's giving us some nice berries. Some of them are a little overripe now. We eat them pretty much every day, so it's been a lot of fun to have those. And they've been producing fruit for like 2 months now, which is nice. In the middle here we have a big tomato plant, and he's making some tomatoes for us that are still green. Over here, this is a special plant. It is a cucamelon. You can see right here, there's a melon. That's a lettuce on the bottom, another bean plant, another bean plant. Look how big some of the beans are getting. Some more lettuce. And this bean plant did really, really well. Wow! To the size of that bean. It vined around this trellis really nicely. It's been a really happy plant. The next bed over has some of our cabbages. They are had the same fate as our cauliflowers over there, in that the cabbage worms attacked them a little hard. These are my cilantro variety cabbages. They make a purple cabbage, obviously. And they're still balling up. They're really big, healthy plants, so hopefully through killing as many of the caterpillars as we could, I hope we thought they'll still, make a cabbage at the end. This plant's a little younger. Another big one. These guys we tried with some shade as well, and the plants really liked it. But unfortunately so did the caterpillars, so the cabbages that are under there are looking extra rough. There's also some lettuce mixed amongst, which I would definitely do again. Down the other end here are some of the broccolis and a few more cauliflowers behind those. This plant's been really big, and it's finally starting to make a little broccoli down in the center there. This bed's looking really good. We've got some red onions on the side here, and some bean plants growing up the stakes in the middle. Again, there's a lot of beans on there. Those ones are yellow, those ones are green. We got some peas, lots of pea pods as well. A bolted spinach. The lettuce, like the romaine and the curly varieties, did really good, tucked between the trellis and the side of the wall. That's where they got lots of shade, so they were happy. And growing up the trellis, on this side is peas. They grew all the way to the top and would be happy to keep going. And you can see there's pea pods all through here. So right now you can eat just the pea pods by themselves if you'd like. But as they age, the peas inside will actually get bigger, and then we'll start shelling them and eating the peas instead of the pods. Over here is another bean plant or two. These grew really, really well. And they're all the way at the top of that trellis as well. This is a bolted parsley. And here are some of the curly lettuces that did really good this year with a bit of fertilizer. And another little pea plant there. Over here is the bed where we always do carrots and radishes. This year they are succession planted, so we have the oldest stuff over here, and then every couple of weeks I planted more seeds all the way to that end. They're doing really good. We've eaten a lot of radishes out here, probably had more than we really needed. And the carrots, they're not quite showing their shoulders just yet, but I'm hoping they'll start to be doing that shortly. Oh, there's a big radish there. Oh, over here are a couple more big cilantro cabbages. They're looking a little healthier than their buddies over the other end of the garden. A little less caterpillar damage. Cilantro. Eric hates cilantro. Some younger cabbages are in there. Some beets and a green cabbage. Some more onions right here. Some more cabbage and the odd beet mixed in there. And on the left side, some more onions. Over here are the bulk of my broccoli plants, which were targeted by the cabbage moths, as well as you can see over here on this leaf. But they're still throwing broccolis for me, which is awesome. This one will still grow a little bit before we pick it. And around here you can see the yellow frame. That's in place for next year, so we can put insect netting over top and protect our brassicas, our broccolis, cauliflowers, and cabbages from the cabbage worms. One nice thing about broccoli compared to cauliflower is you can chop the head of broccoli off like we did here and eat it, and then side shoots will grow. That'll give us smaller but more heads of broccoli. With the cauliflower, it's more of a one chop kind of deal. Over here we did some experiments with the fabric pots mostly. In these big 30-gallon pots we have potatoes. This is my favorite plant in the garden, a cabbage that is super healthy. It only has a little bit of insect damage. We have a tomato in a pot. It's doing a few tomatoes, but compared to its buddies in the row over there, it didn't do as well. These potatoes I'm a little worried about. We'll see what happens. This tomato did really good. It's the same age as the other ones in the row. So these will be ready for picking any time now. Another 30-gallon of potatoes. The tomatoes here I was worried about because I thought they had really early blight. I think they might still have it. You can see some leaves don't look so good. But they still gave us a lot of tomatoes. I wasn't sure that was going to happen. So that's nice. And mixed amongst them, I got some radishes in there. Look how many tomatoes. And some of them are kind of split. But still, we can use them for sauce and salsa and that kind of thing. Got a baby tomato here. That's a pumpkin, the big leaved thing. Some more tomatoes. And some more tomatoes. This plant at the end has probably, I think, the most on one plant. Can't even count them, but maybe 10. Over here we have more potatoes. They're looking pretty good. And next door we have pumpkins. They were flowering this morning, which was really pretty.